Hey folks, Quill18 here and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Sid Meier's Civilization 4, and if all goes well, this will be the final episode of our run here as France as we push towards a cultural victory. We are currently 29 turns away from the cultural victory from Timbuktu going legendary. Orleans has currently a little bit less culture, but is producing it faster, so it should tick a little quicker. We'll see what happens when these various academies get finished up. And hopefully no one declares war. I still don't like that we don't have vision over these guys. Normally what I'd be doing in a normal game is I would be switching over for a turn or two my commerce over to just making a bunch of espionage to catch up. But yeah, we'll have to kind of go in blind here. And just hope. I mean, we could maybe just tank out a war. I'm happy we built some ships on our shores to deter any landings that might occur. There's really nothing else we really care about too much at this point. Here, do that, and then we'll probably get you to build the university after. You know, we can get some of these espionage buildings. Might be a little late for it, but we could increase our numbers. Yeah, we are behind. Like, one of the things here is we have given up on our tech progression, right? We're really rolling dice that we're just going to finish this cultural victory with tech that's never going to improve much. No, I'm not going to piss off the Vikings. You're scary, but the Vikings are worse. Sure, you know what? We can trade world maps. I don't think it's going to matter much. Ragnar completed Crystal Redentor, which would have been nice, but we didn't actually push, and honestly, I'm not even sure we would have necessarily gotten it. Okay, so you have nowhere to put your missionaries right now, or they're still just traveling, which is much more likely to be the case. Let's go and build a couple of those, and then, yeah, we might just construct some more research, or some more ships over here. Is entirely conceivable. And, yeah, keep building temples, because it might unlock another academy somewhere, although at this point, I really would be quite surprised if it did. And yeah, you know what? It's fine. It's not going to come up before the end of the game, one way or to other. Yeah, mass media would give us another culture type thing, but 100% towards culture is definitely the way I want to go. Well, whenever as close as we can get, anyway. Out here. Actually, I do keep forgetting to promote these guys. And I'm going to give them generic combat promotions. And then put you on sentry mode. Alright, how are we looking? Jenny's going to shrink, huh? Well, that's too bad. Yeah, I'm not too concerned. Okay, 19 turns away now. We do have a great artist parked here. I'm still just going to wait. Just in case these guys flip in their order. Only second largest. That makes sense. Ragnar's taken a bunch. And they actually have two vassals, the Aztecs and Americans. That's why their score is insane. Because they're getting contribution from there. Okay, you built your Taoist temple. Okay, and now you're going to go to culture production. And actually, hold on. I suspect we actually don't need any more of these temples anywhere, but I'm going to build them anyway. Hold on. I just need to make sure. Yeah, I'm going to take you off production focus. I specifically do this, which I'm hoping... Yeah, okay. And it is weird to me that there is no, like, focus on culture. But in a sense, actually, I guess it's... Well, it's focus on commerce and production. This is 0.15 more influence per turn doing it this way. There you go. All right, that's maybe as much as we're going to get. If I go and pull these guys out and we get some more production, right? No, that is definitely less. Okay. Oh, hang on. I can put in more and get up to 590. Good. Okay, do that. I didn't realize we actually could be building more of these. You're still happening faster, but I suppose there's no reason. There you go. Get it a little bit more. Oh, Orleans now slightly behind Timbuktu. Yeah. I think that might keep alternating just a scooch. But that's, again, the reason why the great artist. Now, I think I've only got one. Let's check this screen. Yeah, we only got the one. I'll just leave it between these two. And we'll just use it on whoever falls slightly more behind. At the last minute. I mean, you got to remember, Orleans isn't even making culture right now. Actually, if I have cash, I don't have enough for it. Unless I could buy that building, but I'm not going to bring down my culture slider. You keep waiting here. We've got our ships. Yeah, this is going to happen very fast. Should have cut the last video a little sooner. Because we're mostly just next turning here. Oh, great engineer. You know what? We're going to use you for a golden age. Let's see. How are we looking? Okay, back to Timbuktu being slightly slower. So I'm going to use you here for a great work. Then you, and it doesn't say, but it's going to be you plus a great profit, I believe. Right over here. Yeah, you plus a great profit. We'll get a golden age, which will increase our output of everything. Which is going to shrink this down. Yeah, which makes sense now that, like, Timbuktu is going to be much sooner because Orleans didn't get the new culture bomb. But that's still not too bad. Fortify up. Yeah, we have a lot of idle missionaries, which we knew. There you go. I'm going to hurry you. And then you're going to go into culture production afterwards. So it's currently saying, what, 11 turns? This should shrink a fair bit here as it A gets the building and B... Hang on a second. I'm just going to alt-click frigates here. And B starts to work on culture. So now if we look, it was 11 turns, it's now 8 turns. I mean, obviously we've gone to 10, but we still shaved a couple off. Is there... No, this is all coming out to exactly the same amount. Okay. Fortify you. Fortify you. Move you out here. Promote sentry. I wonder at the end, let's put everything up against, let's say just Ragnar. Just to compare the military strength with him, if we can get there, which we might not be able to because, again, we're not investing in espionage. At this point, yeah, I can pretty safely just, like, tell you to auto-build. Oh, you're working on some spies. Okay. Sure. Whatever. Fortify. Well... Okay. War were declared. Tell you what, yeah, we're just gonna alt-click rifleman. Just make rifles for the rest of the game. So, where are you? You're... Okay, there's a transport there. Wow. We are so far behind on tech. There you go. We did sink you. Anywhere else? Zhao just completed the Apollo program. Huh. It's the only transport we see currently. And all we got to do is survive 5 more turns. You know what I could do? Timbuktu. Rather than culture... Yeah, hang on. This is an interesting idea. If I go and tell all of my cities, you're going to make wealth. Except for Orleans, which is going to make culture. And then with the wealth offset, I can do this and run more culture as a slider. There we go. We actually shaved the turn off because I can run 100% culture. Oh, I hit E for Auto Explorer. That's not correct. You know, you're a little bit alone here, but it actually might be good to, like, spot. I guess we get spotting off the borders, too, but... Timbuktu has reached legendary status. You're goddamn right. Everything's actually shrinking. Okay, Viking Destroy. Yeah, they've got much better ships than we do. But in 2 turns, we're gonna win. It's weird it doesn't say L for legendary here. Maybe because it just happened this turn and it hasn't refreshed it. Second person has made an Apollo program. Oh, good for them. They're all gonna be buying my blue jeans and my rock and roll records here in a second. Yeah, like we cannot beat that. But we'll force them to do it on our turn. On their turn rather than attack. Okay, one turn away. Really making... Oh, I guess with production, yeah, 1,100 culture per turn. So, not a record-breaking win, I don't think. 1943. But we did manage this. We did navigate exactly what we're hoping to do. All right, mass media would have helped with the speed, but not too bad. I think this is us here. Yeah, with the blue, and then that's Mansa. And yeah, like this continent being split in two probably made things harder for us, because if we had met these two neighbors who were very far away, we would probably worked out like some diplomatic stuff and used them for more trading and accelerated things considerably. But 'twasn't to be. Yeah, we did expand very quickly here. And then stopped for a while. And then yeah, they had quite the expansion. We definitely had to go and punch through here. That was important. I mean, we literally made Timbuktu one of our legendary cities. In fact, there was another good candidate there for a second one. Wow, that playthrough went fast. But yeah, the Vikings got pretty big. Did they eliminate anyone? I think that must be America, right? With that blue color. And this was Portugal with this yellow, I think. And this is, yeah, this is Arabian No, this is Arabian Portuguese over here. Oh, that's the Aztecs. Really? No. Because I met the Aztecs when I came south. Which one's this more yellowy one? Portuguese is quite dark green. That must be Portugal. And Arabia was still... This must be Arabia. No, the yellow must be Aztecs, and it must just be a weird coincidence, the timing when we met people. I don't know. All right. Let's take a look at some of these different stats here. I guess, am I not running... I'm not running the extra info addicts, am I? I'm thinking of probably Civ 5 or something. I don't know. Yeah, look at the Vikings production. Holy crap. I mean, no wonder they were crushing it. Yeah, I mean, they were the biggest empire. They had the most food and everything. For commerce, we were crushing it throughout most of it, which led to a pretty high science rate. This dip here, this is when we had a revolution from changing our civics. So yeah, in fact, from almost all of the game, we were well ahead on that, which is nice. Yeah, this made a huge difference. It wouldn't surprise me if right around here is when we maybe finished the Great Library or something like that, and had some more science specialists running or something of that nature. I don't know. This must be coinciding with some sort of policy change, maybe? Slight down dip and then a big upshoot. Or is this when we won our war against... Maybe this is when we finished our first war. That actually makes some sense. I'm wondering if this is when we finished our second war. Could be. I don't know. But, I think that was a pretty good game. Yeah, culture, vroom, going Super Saiyan, while everyone else was fairly linear. Well, no, actually, there's still some, like, exponential gain over here, or some sort of multiplied gain. But it looks so flat compared to our curve, which makes sense because that's what we're pursuing. And then top 5 cities, I mean, hopefully most of them are ours. These 3, okay, Rhymes in there. Lisbon did come in, and they're the ones that stole freaking Broadway, right? Man, we probably would have saved some time, because we would have gotten Broadway and Timbuktu and probably used fewer artists there, and then used an extra one, at least, I'd say, in Orleans, and probably finished quite a few turns earlier, actually. I mean, by the end, Orleans was making, what, 1,100 culture per turn? So the bomb from an artist is only, it's like less than 4 turns worth. But I think it still would have resulted in quite a bit of a saving. Yeah, but, I mean, they did okay. And then, yeah, Christo by the Vikings, that's fine. Don't mind that. The Vikings did get Stonehenge, which helped them a lot. And then, yeah, we spammed a ton of wonders. A ton of wonders. Again, we were industrious, and we had both stone and marble, which helped a lot. I don't know how many of these were stone-based, the pyramids, and the Great Walls, which actually, the Great Walls took a lot of pressure off. Gave us some culture generation, and also gave us a lot more great people. Like, we spammed great people like crazy. Now, if we'd been playing a philosophical civ, we would have had fewer wonders, most likely, but a lot more great people. Although, here's the thing. The philosophical civ gives you plus 50%, right? which again is additive, not multiplicative with anything else that might add to it. We might not have been able to get the wonder that, what is it, Pantheon, which gives us the extra great person growth. We might have missed out on it. And because the cost of each great person goes up, you're not getting, like, let's say you double your great production, your great person production rate. It doesn't necessarily, depending on how things go, translate to getting twice as many, because the next ones get so much more expensive, right? It's mostly like you're getting the next one faster than you would otherwise, but because the costs keep growing at a certain point, I don't think you're really seeing the value as much, because if it's going to take 100 turns versus 200 turns for the next one, it doesn't matter. But I still think Philosophical is probably stronger for a cultural win, but we definitely made excellent use out of the Industrial one. There's the projects. 3 people did do the Apollo program. It's interesting there's no date for this, but it all happened pretty near the end. Like we were not, the only thing that was a threat was the military side, which is a calculated thing, right? At some point we turn off the teching for military. Now, I will say, I mean, we probably would have pursued a different path, because I was about to say, if we wanted to go scientific victory, then we would have had to research more techs, which would have taken a little bit longer, although we would have maintained our tech rate a little bit longer. But it's not like we set our tech rate to 0 that quickly, actually. I think we would have been pretty hard pressed to get a tech victory anytime around here. And furthermore, if we had to defend longer, then we could have gotten our butts kicked. Now, we might have been able to counter that by virtue of having, we would have probably teched for more military stuff along the way as we were teching up. So we might have been in a better position. We may not have been defending against destroyers with frigates. On the other hand, the Vikings went crazy. We might not have been able to counter. Well, we would have played the rest of the game differently, right? We probably would have planned maybe an overseas invasion at some point. We might have done other things along the way. We certainly wouldn't have built quite as many wonders, especially where, we're like, oh, let's make sure to grab all these wonders that'll be good for kind of culture type stuff. And at some point, they weren't necessarily helpful for military. Like, why would I have gotten the Eiffel Tower, for example, right? It's great if you can get it for free, but who cares? We would have just definitely not cared about that one. We wouldn't have pursued things like rock and roll, for example, and that would have all gone somewhere else. We also wouldn't have spent anywhere near as much production on all the religious stuff, right? That's the other thing to keep in mind. We invested heavily in the religion stuff, which was very helpful for our cultural victory. But these, I'm now convincing myself, okay, we would have done so many things differently in terms of priority. I think we would have been in an okay position. I think it would have been scary. Having to fight the Vikings head on would have been scary, and I think a scientific victory would have come a little bit later. I think what would have happened, if we were going science, we probably would have ended up turtling in exactly the same way that we did, but with a more powerful military to defend with while pursuing a scientific victory. That probably would have come a little bit later, but yeah. No, all those early wonders really, really paid some huge dividends. Folks, thank you very much for watching this series. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I recorded all this sort of back to back again. What am I going to do next? More Civ 4 with another victory, some Civ 5 with other victories, jumping up to Civ 6, being really daring, visiting Civ 7. I do want to play a game of Civ 7 with the new map generation, which I haven't experienced yet. I gotta say, the Fractal map we played on last time was a heck of a lot of fun. Excuse me. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do next. I still want to revisit Ara and Millennia, and maybe even Humankind. So these, crazier things have been known to happen. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.